spending.
Very interesting. Chad Pergram, thanks so much.
Sure.
Well, joining me now from Capitol Hill is Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Senator, thank you so much for being here. This is pretty interesting that this thing just passed in the House, but by a hair. And you had all Republicans voting against it from the look of it. You had all Republicans voting against it in the Senate. Let me ask you this, though, sir. If you don't vote for this thing, how are we going to pay our bills? You know, is there an alternative to raising the debt limit?
Well, what we ought to be doing is getting a handle on spending, Megan. We've been on a spending binge for the last year of astonishing proportions. And looking down the road, our colleagues on the majority side in the House and Senate passed a budget that would double the national debt in 5 years and triple it in 10. In other words, not only are they voting to raise the debt ceiling, they're not even discontinuing the process by which presumably we'll have to come back and do this again next year.
You know, they've come back and said, look, yes, we've spent some since President Obama took office, but we inherited a huge debt and deficit run up by those 8 years that President Bush was in office. And there's only so much we can do when we've got a nation in a recession to try to tamp down these numbers.
Look, the debt they ran up in the first year of the Obama administration was bigger than the last 4 years of President Bush combined. They have been on a spending spree of gargantuan proportions. They know it. We know it, and the American people know it. The best way to deal with that is to get a handle on spending. You don't get there, Megan, by passing $800 billion stimulus packages. You don't get that by not discontinuing TARP, you know, the fund that was set up to rescue the banks. Well, that rescue ought to come to an end. It'd give that money back to deficit reduction. There's no evidence whatsoever that the majority, or for that matter, the administration, is interested in getting a handle on spending.
You know, President Obama would beg to differ, and he has said that that this problem is one of the main reasons why we need health care reform in this country. And there was a report that came out today that said that that health care consumed a record 17.3% of all spending by the government in the U.S. economy. 17.3%. President Obama says that's why we need to overhaul the system, because we can't keep spending that kind of dough on health care.
Of course, no one believes the health care bill, which hopefully now is finished, would have done anything about that. It was a $2.5 trillion federal program, starting a new entitlement program at a time of record and unsustainable deficits. It doesn't strike any of us as the right way to go. The American people were overwhelmingly opposed to that bill in any event.
You know, one of the big things in the president's budget, and even people on your side of the aisle have credited him for this, is $160 billion of funding for the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know, the president prioritizing that money in the budget. You, however, have come out pretty sharply criticizing President Obama in the past couple of days when it comes to the war on terror, saying that he has got a blind spot when it comes to protecting this country. You think that's fair, Senator? Don't you think President Obama is at least trying to protect us from another terror attack?
Yeah, well, I didn't say he had a blind spot, and I do support what he's doing in Afghanistan. I think it's the right way to go, and I think we'll prevail in Afghanistan. What I've been critical of him for doing is that he has put the Attorney General of the United States in charge of the war on terror in the following way. They are mainstreaming foreign national terrorists into the U.S. court system. That's a big mistake. That was done a couple of times in the Bush administration. We ought to learn from that. We have since set up these military commissions trial system to try these foreign terrorists. What ought to happen, Megan, is a foreign national terrorist captured, no matter where, in the United States like the Christmas bomber or overseas, anywhere else, ought to be sent to Guantanamo, detained there, interrogated there, and their case adjudicated there. It's quite simple. They ought to be treated as military prisoners as opposed to U.S. citizens.
You know, Bill Burton, who is a deputy spokesperson at the White House, came out and said Republican criticisms along this line are mere politics, that you are doing that. You are raising this concern for political gain and not because you actually have a beef that's legitimate with the president. Your response, sir?
Well, I just think he's making a big mistake, and you know, the American people expect us to have a debate here about these policies. They've seen on full display the chaos as a result of treating the Christmas bomber as if he had robbed a convenience store. This was a person who was trying to blow a plane out of the air from Nigeria. It's clearly a case for the military and for our intelligence people, not for the U.S. court system. What happened? He was given a 50-minute interrogation. Probably Larry King has interrogated people longer and better than that, after which he was assigned a lawyer who told him to shut up. That is not the way to deal with someone in the war on terror.
Mr. Minority Leader, thank you so much for coming on. Mitch McConnell, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All the best. Another Fox News alert just coming in. Things getting very testy inside the Beltway.